drum rolls today.
Yeah, I was just...
Yeah, okay, off we go.
Hello, my name's William. I'm a grade 10 student at Rosenberg. I'd like to bring you all to the 3 o'clock session we have today, with our topic being the future of work belongs to those who own it. I'd like to bring on Anna Rold, CEO, Diplomatic Courier and World in 2050, as well as Raphael Gilgen. Nope, okay. Well, that's all then.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan, I'm in grade 11. I would like to introduce the guests. So first, I would like to bring up Toria Stevens, CEO and founder of Leader of the Future. Welcome. Secondly, Johanna Soderstrom, founder, Take a Talent Group. Nikos Akuna, CEO and founder, Ion Labs. Dr. Jess Concert, Chief Impact Officer, Imaginative. Katrina Salazar, founder and CEO, WeThink.
There are more.
Not here. Stefan Schopfel, CEO, Value AI Institute. Please have a seat.
Everyone ready?
We are.
So,
Let's hear also the guiding question for today.
So our guiding question today is, how will autonomy, identity, and data sovereignty redefine the future of work? So, Ms. Stevens, our first question is for you. What does leadership look like when people expect autonomy, default, and what must leaders stop doing and start doing?
Well, first of all...
This works. First of all, thank you so much. This is by far my most favorite, and looking forward to this session because I am founder, like I said, Leaders of the Future. So with the leadership, right now what we are seeing is incredible inflection points. We are seeing now the next 10 years is going to be more impact than the past 100 years combined. So this generation right now, we are seeing incredible change, and it's affecting every one of us. Now, when we see the leaders, we are seeing such a big trend of the human-centric leadership becomes most important. So what it means, we need to be part of understanding how we are now having our values, our empathy, and really seeing that we are the last generation also leading humans. What does that mean? We have AI agents coming, we have digital counterparts as well as robots. So everyone in this room, you will be the leaders of the future because nothing has been done in our generation before, and it will be very much of building new foundations for the entire organization.
Thank you. My next question is for Johanna Soderstrom, but before the question, I'm sorry if I messed up any of your names. So, my question is, what does identity at work mean? How are people signaling value beyond CVs, portfolios, communities, or verified skills?
Again, thank you for having me. I think there are a few things that have happened and continue to happen. I have had the opportunity to work for 2 really big Fortune 50 companies with over 100,000 in the workforce. And over again, I have seen that value is not created by titles. Never, but by the story about how contributions were created. And that is about storytelling. That's key. Big difference. Not title, but the stories.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kuna, the next question is for you. Sorry if I messed up your name there. If workers truly owned their data, skills, outputs, performance signals, what would change first? Pay, mobility, bargaining power, or learning?
I would say learning is at the top of my list there, just because I'm coming at this from a technical point of view, so understanding where data is stored and where intelligence is. And we look at everything from a knowledge perspective, a knowledge graph, And from there, you have to store the data. And think about how you're learning every single day. You're interacting with ChatGPT. You are reading books. You are grabbing sources from the internet. But obviously, that needs to be stored somewhere safe and secure. But that changes your experience of how you're accessing this information, right? So the knowledge work of the future will no longer be pulling links from lots of different places. There's going to be a component of that. But your experience will change because your aperture will change. And of course, where you access this data needs to be a central location. And it's going to cascade into everything else that you mentioned in terms of how the data is stored, who's getting paid for it, and it even changes the monetization of how that information will now be disseminated. So enterprises can also access that information while paying for your knowledge work, and you'd be able to keep your knowledge graph in a much more secure and sovereign way so that you can essentially learn better, but then your data gets stored in a more secure way as well.
Yeah, thank you.
So my next question is for Jess. What's the biggest risk of AI at work, widening inequality, and what intervention actually works? Policy, procurement, training, or design?
It's kind of awareness around the institution's ability to absorb that change, right? People take time. Transformation takes time. It's very much a human moment. So I think being able to be very intentional and deliberate about designing the right rewards, incentives, and also the equality and inclusion piece is going to become critical. So building that upfront into your governance structure, into the data, into the access controls, like you were just mentioning, is going to become critical.
Thank you.
And now our final question for this round is for you, Mr. Schopfel. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did well.
Okay. If we want trustworthy AI in the workplace, what's the minimum standard for accountability, documentation, audits, explainability, and appeal?
Yeah, very good question. Maybe I quickly start to explain my background. So I come from the software company SAP. I spent 30 years there, so similar size, 100,000 people company. And in my last role, I was responsible for global sales for AI products. And that role involved both the internal transformation. You may think all tech companies are ready for AI, and that's not the case. This also requires a huge internal transformation to build the skills, to build the product, and also build the product in a way that you just described, so that they fulfill all the requirements. And the requirements start from UN, go to the EU legislation or regional governance, up to company governance. So our company implemented an own AI ethics and governance board to watch all the principles, and most aligned, of course, with the EU Act, but also UN principles that govern the creation of AI products, but also the use of the AI products to protect the workforce, individual workers, but of course also to protect the customers and the workforce at the customer. So that, to answer your question. So that's an essential part of the design process of software, of the distribution, selling process, but of course also the operating process of the software. And maybe also a little bit different from Gen AI, because we are very hyped on Gen AI. It's very much products focused on consumers or individuals, so like individual assistants. And if you go to the enterprise area, business AI area, I would say Gen AI products play a very much smaller role. And also, I would say still we are at the beginning of the transformation there, very much at the beginning. So because we first need to build model on the data, on enterprise data. Right now the model are built on web data, not on enterprise data. So the next wave of AI will for sure come from business AI, models built on enterprise data, and models built according to the principles that we just discussed to protect the workforce, and they're all equally important.
You asked such great questions, and so I wanted to maybe take a moment and talk a little bit about the fact that your generation is going to have a bit of more of a gap between their first job and what we would call sort of the career. And that's because the tool set you're working with is so much more exponential, right? You're going to be doing things much faster with AI, with some of the other technologies that are sort of coalescing. So the question I had for our panel here is the concept of the career is changing. Our students here will be graduating high school in the next couple of years, and then, it used to be linear. You graduate school, you get an assessment, it tells you, where you're going next, you'll get a job, maybe some more schooling. But now that's more of a zigzag. You're going in and out, and you're acquiring schooling and education and skills and competencies all the time for the duration of your life. What does that look like? What does that, not fragmented, but more of a decentralized career look like? And how do we make it portable and prove that we are who we are, and that today what we're doing here together also counts as a learning experience and a skill set that matters to the employer in the future?
Anna, can I jump in and take that one first? Go for it. Because I very much had the traditional career. Like every 18 months, I was with American Express for 9 years in mergers and acquisitions, and then I was with CBS and Viacom, and then with Adecco for 7 years, and ended up leading product and innovation. And very much every 18 months, I was moving into that next role, right? It was very linear. But then it came to me towards the end of 2024 that AI is going to take my job. It's going to take all of my team's job. And so now was the moment for me to lean into that, because just like I think it was Vincent who said, right, it took my job, but it hasn't taken my future. So I decided I was going to use AI to create my job. And that's what I've done. So I used it, and now I'm the Chief AI Impact Officer. So now is the moment to lean into that future that you can create.
Can I jump in and build on it? So very similar, but still very different. I started at Dow Chemical, who is one of the world's largest chemical companies, as an HR manager in the Nordics, in Finland, where I'm from. And 20 years later, I ran HR for the global corporation as their chief HR officer, leading a Dow-DuPont mega merger, spinning out 3 companies between Dow and DuPont, you name it. It was a traditional career path, from role to role to role to role. I did not plan it, the company planned it, and it happened. One thing that has not changed and will not change in my belief book is it's not about the title again. It's about who you know that you are, which means how do you solve problems? What is your approach to actually collaborate? That's not HR, that's you. And that takes a lot of soul searching to figure out who you really are and how, again, back to what I said earlier, how you tell your story. Career path is one thing, but what you bring is another thing.
Can I jump on that? So a little bit of my background, Finn as well, from Finland, name comes from there. And I was in shipbuilding. Finns build ships. And again, nothing linear, living in United States over 30 years now in Miami, but at the same time, very Nordic way of building in a corporate. But then 5 years ago, I left my career and became entrepreneur. I was over 40 years old. So with that, I just want to encourage everyone that we need to learn. And sometimes as an executives, unlearn. So now this is such an important thing to be humble of learners and understanding that no matter what age. So, and I couldn't be more agreeing what Johanna said, is that right now it is not what we do, but who we are. And that means our character, our leadership skills, our tacit knowledge. And that's why we're actually excited that we are building solutions. So for example, for static resumes, that it's a tiny snippet of what you have done. We do need to now change that into who we are, 360 narrative of your career story. And with the use of Help AI, you actually are able to do it. So we are developing, for example, Career Twin. And that means that you can start really collecting those tacit knowledge. You can start putting all that career journey in it. And the more you do, the more it's going to start knowing about you and also the skills that you might not have known. So there's a lot of potential. But the big thing is that it's no longer the titles, what Johanna said.
Or the resume.
Or the resume, correct.
Does anyone else want to jump in?
Yeah, I could jump in. So I would look at this from the first perspective would be a technical perspective. The second one is a little bit out of the box and a little bit more organic. So the first one, I would look at the new concept of a career being a constellation. And the reason why it's a constellation is because in order to understand what you're good at, there's always some kind of experience that's relative to another. If I used to wait tables when I was 15 years old, this takes a lot of people skills, right? So you need to deal with angry customers, or if I didn't get good tips in a particular day, then you need to deal with that, and that needs to be captured somewhere. And so that may help you later on in life. But these experiences, as isolated as they are, will be related to what you need to overcome maybe later down the line when you're managing a team, when you're teaching in front of a course, right? So it's critical to understand that every concept that you will learn from now on is in relation to something else. And that's why when you look at it from an AI perspective, we have these things called embeddings, vectors, and latent spaces. And those things are relational models so that we can understand the world in a more meaningful way. Now, on the organic side, I tie this to what my partners have said earlier. These self-concepts now turn into more abstract things. I used to be a server, now I'm a manager. I'm a manager, now I'm an executive. I'm an executive, now I'm an entrepreneur. But you have to let go of certain concepts in order to make space for new ones, right? Because you can't be everything all at the same time, and the more fragmented you are, then the more energy you're putting into all of these different things. You can't manage all of those identities. So I would say be very cognizant about the things that you unlearn and then develop a new self-concept that's more powerful, and that becomes the person that you want to be down the line.
Bravo.
Yeah, many interesting things to add to that. Yeah, one thought that immediately came to my mind is also linearity. So the progress in AI is dramatically speeding up and getting interconnected. So I would say the next probably new wave we will see now is industrial AI. So AI currently doesn't have a lot of spatial recognition or touch points, doesn't know where it is. So we need spatial AI and then that connects to robots and industrial AI. And I mean, I would expect huge and tremendous acceleration of innovation there. And I think, of course, if this translates to us, if you link it to us, who we are linear thinker, maximum, and not easy for us to deal with exponential development, at least not so much in my generation, maybe much easier for you. And then, of course, the question is, what are then the key skills for this area? And in my view, I think it's vision on, if you take industrial AI, if you plan to go in this area, what do you want to use it for? Not carrying forward what is it in place. Yeah. A robot maybe doesn't need to look like a human. Yeah. So it's your imagination on how it should look like to maybe best serve the purpose you want it to serve. Then, of course, also judgment relating to what are the uses we don't want, the unethical uses. So if you are the visionary behind a new product or a new company, you also need to have a very strong, make strong decisions on what you don't want it to do and build that into the design. And then, of course, creativity to build a product that is the best one in the world, that is much better than what is existing. So I would say these are, from my perspective, key skills. And of course, all of that in a network, not in a linear career, but in a network with your friends, with the people you know. Maybe also contact us if you have great idea. We love to work with you. And I would say, yeah, these are, I would see as very critical skills in the future.
I'd like to open the room to questions now, and specifically since Ms. Salazar unfortunately was not here, I'd like to ask her question to anyone who would like to answer. What's the boldest shift youth are demanding about work ownership right now? And what would it take for institutions to act on it within the next 12 months?
Can be our panel, can be in the room. Can be the panel, can be in the room.
Would someone like to get things started and then we can?
Yeah.
So boldest shift in the next 12 months. So
Yes.
I'd be happy to. Finns are bold, but I know so are you. So there is one thing that I am a little bit concerned about, and that is the dominance of AI in resume writing. If someone would offer me a way to get rid of that, I would vote for it, because it takes out the thing I tried to point out earlier about the identity. AI will never be your identity. Never. That's too bold. It might be, eventually. But we have AI creating resumes that all look alike. We have agents in the recruiting space guilty of actually hiring against the AI resume, or at least plotting out who should go to the next round and the next round. The human touch, however we get that back, that's what I would call for. You are in the space of starting creating systems for the future. I would go against that, or with that flow. Try to figure out ways to create those systems to make sure AI doesn't dominate. There was a point in time when I started working in Germany 15 years ago that all hinged on how pretty your resume was, what kind of paper it was printed on. It was called the Bewerbungsmappe. Remember those times? Well, sorry. Some of us remember that. And that actually had an impact whether or not you were going to get through the first pile of are you in the no or the yes pile. The quality of your paper mattered. I'm not saying go back to that. I'm not. But there is something in between that I would say would be bold enough.
Thank you. I'm going to use good quality paper. But so the next question is again same thing. Anyone in the room can answer. It's what part of work do you want? Sorry. What part of work do you want most of you to own? Data, schedule, identity, learning outcomes, and what's stopping you?
Perhaps just quickly repeat. It was very fast.
Sorry. What part of work do you most want to own? Data, schedule, identity, learning, outcomes, and what's stopping you?
Okay, I'm going to jump in and please add who you are, your intelligence. I talk about our individual intelligence, which means our tacit knowledge, our experiences, our absolutely leadership, our character. And first time in our lifetime, now AI is able to analyze it. We need to own it. It's mine. It's accumulating throughout my career. So I think it's very important that we acknowledge it at work, that there is certain things that we do for the company, but also these are something that I carry with me my entire career. So I think that is a very important. And also I want to acknowledge that what you want to own is you are uniquely intelligent. And that means that your intuition, which means now AI is giving you so much data, so much information, but if that feels based on your tacit knowledge or experience, it doesn't feel right, trust it. Because AI is not able to take that away. So I think those are kind of things that you start really understanding your superpowers as a student, as a worker, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, and that makes you unique.
Thank you so much. Indeed. So, sorry, may I ask how old you guys are here? 17. Beautiful.
Between 12 and 17.
Between 12 and 17. So, for the panel, if you now had the experience that you have, but let's say you were in the 16, 17 age range and approaching time when you might be looking for your first job. I don't know if that, we'll see what happens. What would you see is very important for you to learn? What would you be reading, studying?
I can try to start and then please complement. So I guess one big challenge now is that there are less entry-level jobs. So that's one huge challenge. Less entry-level jobs in many industries, because companies believe that they can be more automated by AI. Still to be proven, but that's that's I would say good and bad. So it's a challenge to get in. If you're in, it's better because some routine tasks that people are bored don't need to be done anymore. But to get in is a more challenge. So the biggest advice I can give is already very early through placements in companies, engaging in model companies, student societies who are a little bit like a company actually. It's a network and a company, and probably you're doing all of that. So gaining work experience as soon as possible, so that when you present yourself, when you want to be hired, that you can already prove that your skills already equal somebody who maybe has already worked 2 years of work experience, and that you can already take over a role that requires the things we discussed, creativity, vision. You already know how to create outcomes, and you're not starting as a learner. That's one thing. The other thing, if I can quickly add to that, is of course we also have 3 kids from 16 to 24, and use AI as little as possible to still keep training your muscle. So of course I'm also a heavy AI user, yeah? And I realized that of course my brain muscle in some areas goes down. So the muscle capabilities goes down in terms of summarizing texts, calculations, so many things. And then of course, if we go back to what we discussed, you need to keep up your creativity. Also maybe creativity goes down because I outsource creativity to Gen AI. And of course, these are all important skills, as we discussed, that you need to do your job. So as we all discovered that we need physical training because we are not walking as much as we did before, we are sitting most of the time, like here. We need to do exercises in the morning and in the evening to train our physical body. The more we use AI, the more we need to train our mental system through networking, social activity, painting, creating craftsmanship. So all the things that are to compensate the loss of mental strength through AI. So that's, I would say, the 2 aspects that come to our mind.
Can I add on that just one thing? When I have a 16-year-old son, so this is very real, the question. One thing I wish I could give him is the skill of judgment. It is often something you have to learn. You can't teach it. If I could give the gift, that would be judgment. The other thing I would want to make sure that I would have understood earlier in my own career is how important it is to be able to work with others. The absolute teamwork capability or collaboration, that is the one that will accelerate you.
Ryan, we have one more question here. 2 more in the audience.
I think this will echo the work, what you're doing over there with your new platform. But I think personal knowledge management is an essential skill that people need to cultivate for 2 reasons. First of all, we already see that the people who can master AI and make the most use of it are able to plug in essentially their identity and a reflection of their mind, because it allows the AI to answer in a way that more authentically fits with what you're trying to get. And the people who get ahead of you are the people who can do that. And the way to do that is to have a well-organized personal knowledge management store that you can call in and integrate safely. But the second piece is also when you enter a market where reality is collapsing and employers are being inundated with 1 million resumes that are suspiciously good and interview questions done remotely are suspiciously good, and you're already hearing from employers that they need new ways of trusting that who they're dealing with are real people, the ability to prove your learning journey is going to be essential when proof of human knowledge and identity becomes table stakes in a world where nothing is real. And so your ability to cultivate your knowledge graph becomes both your way to leverage AI safely, but also defend yourself when humanity is not trusted.
Thank you.
So as the motion of learning with AI, I think I am in the position to be able to speak for the youth. And I think most of us, although we understand the weight and how AI impacts our critical thinking and ways of understanding how to learn things, it is our duty also to know how to use AI in terms of studying. For many of us, it is vital to have AI tools so that our learning journey can be more and more fast. I am saying this because the whole idea of this fast learning, this fast scrolling, fast AI, everything needs to be fast. So competition doesn't only come for us from AI, but also from our fellow people who are our age. And as we are trying to use AI less and less and less, other people who do know how to use AI and are educated towards managing tools will be able to take our university places, our jobs, and so on and so forth. So it is very important not that we use AI less, but we use it responsibly as young people who will be the future leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. I would like our humanics students to quickly just raise their hands in the room. Thank you. These students, over a couple of different grade levels, are the grade 10s are actually currently reaching out to industry partners. So they have a project, which would you like to share your project, William? I didn't think I should put you on the spot. They will each have chosen a project based on connecting it to a sustainable development goal. And we've, some of my peers are here today, we are working with these students, encouraging them to reach out directly to industry. And you mentioned, you said to the students in this room, you said, reach out to us if you have your ideas, we want to hear them. And we've been having interesting conversations with our students in the classroom where they're saying, Miss, they don't want to hear from us. And I think Ina and Michelle just nailed it on the head. Like we need our students to learn their value, to know themselves, and that they do have valuable ideas. They do need to use AI responsibly. So that, in a nutshell, brings me to my question. Do you have any advice for these students regarding specifically reaching out to people in industry so that they will hear back?
I can take that one. Yeah, sure. So this ties to an earlier point that was raised in the room in terms of creating value, both from a learning standpoint and not just grabbing an enterprise's attention and what's going to be most valuable as a skill set moving forward. But I would say when I was 22 and I was just coming out of school and I was trying to figure out what to do, I coded up my first app, and of course I had to learn how to code and all of those things. But now, like 20 plus years later, I wish I would have started at 12. To go founder mode at 12. Well, now you don't even need to learn how to code, right? So if you have a problem or an app or some kind of idea, and that's tied to something specific within an industry, or maybe it's even just a company that you want to work for. Roy, you had talked about how your parents in Dubai have created like a wonderful desalination water business, right? So you have entrepreneurial blood, right? And so if you want to solve a problem, reach out to that enterprise, do a little bit of research about them, work with an LLM to do so, and say, hey, I have this thought about something that you guys are specifically doing from a conceptual standpoint. Here are the types of products that you guys have, and maybe here's a problem that you're looking to solve. I have an idea for maybe how to do it. That'll put you at the top of the pile immediately. Why? Because that signals to an enterprise like me that, wow, this kid has done their homework. 2, you've done some research on what that specific problem is. You are versatile, so you're coming at it from multiple angles, and you have that passion that you want to solve that problem. So not only go founder mode, but actually do your homework to research a specific problem that you want to solve, and then maybe do some legwork in trying to build that thing, and that'll get you super, super far.
Oh, I'm just going to quickly say what has helped me, no matter what the context is, our project, I usually go with 3 C's. First one is I'm going to commit. Whatever I decide to do, I'm going to commit learning. I'm going to be curious about it. And the second one is connect. I think this is incredible time right now to be connected with each other, building those really human-to-human relationships. It is beyond, please connect in LinkedIn. And ask help. You would be surprised. All of us are actually honored that you chose to ask to be a LinkedIn, for example. So build those build those networks and connect. And the last one is create. Start just creating. It doesn't matter what it is, but create. So commit, connect, and create. I think that has been helping me a little bit.
I want to thank everybody. I want to thank our two moderators who did a phenomenal job.
Those 3 C's in the Rosenberg Youth Manifesto.
That's wonderful. So we're writing, yes, the students are writing a manifesto. And I do know these individuals quite well, and I would say, yes, you can reach out to them. Certified, guaranteed, they will be proud to help you. Thank you all for your attention and for being so engaged, and we look forward